prepared for something new. Everyone is different. So are you. Stay straight. No masquerades. Do things that you'll remember. You can push too far, but stay fair. Stay on track. Give it your all. Get to the bottom of things. Decide what's right. Don't believe in what the others do. Find it out for yourself. Be close to it all. Bring your heart along. Follow your goals. Reach for the stars. Turn the weekend into the loudest party of your life. Are you prepared?
Thanks very much indeed, Verena, Chris Hartley and Alex Torrell here in the commentary box trackside. This then is how the grid shapes up. Lucas Auer with his 5th career pole position ahead of Rob Wickens on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, we have P4 for René Rast, P3 for Maxime Martin.
On row 3 then, starting 5th, Timo Glock, who went so well at Hockenheim. Tom Blomqvist in the BMW alongside him.
You have P7, Nico Müller, and P8, we have Mike Rockenfeller, full row for Audi.
And rounding out the top 10, Gary Paffett, the 2005 champion, 3 times a winner here, and Eduardo Matara now with Mercedes.
The next row we have Marco Winan, ex-last year champion, and Matthias Exner on P12.
Yeah, the double champion. One to watch. Maro Engel, new to DTM this year in 13th. Augusto Farfus back in 14th spot.
Rookie this year, Loic Duval on P15, and ex-DTM driver Paul Di Resta.
Yeah, the ex-F1 driver is Bruno Spengler and Jamie Green, another two to watch from the back row of the grid. So Paul Di Resta in the mix there. And we have a fantastic race lined up for you. We have had some fantastic racing already at Hockenheim. You've seen how close it was in the qualifying session. And lots of new rules and regulations for the drivers to concentrate upon this year. In many ways, they've stripped it back. I mean, the cars are more powerful, but they've got a new compound of tyre from Hankook. Because you look at Matthias Ekstrom, want to watch the former double champion to come from 12th on the grid in the Audi. But the new compound tyres are quicker, they are softer. But the downside to that is, Alex, that they will also wear away quicker. So the drivers are really going to have to nurse the tyres and look after them in the race.
Yeah, exactly, Chris. We saw this already in Hockenheim. Many drivers starting really strong at the beginning and dropping their lap times towards the end. And we saw many overtaking maneuvers, many change in the positions. So I guess we will have similar conditions today. Also, the temperature is really high, a lot of humidity here on Lausitzring. So I'm really keen to see how those tyres develop in these conditions.
OK, well, we can hear on the grid now from Jens Marquardt, who's speaking to Verena Vriet. Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yeah, it's going to be Type BMW. You've got good memories of this place. When they came back to DTM 5 years ago in 2012, that was their first time winning since coming back. It was Bruno Spengler that took the win that day. It was also the 50th victory for BMW. But having gone well at Hockenheim, of course, they got the Mercedes, who have gone so well in qualifying. So Mercedes 1-2, Lucas Auer, Robert Wickens, the top two on the grid. But Maxime Martin in the BMW was really not anywhere near the front of the qualifying list all the way through qualifying until right at the death and came through and put in the third fastest time. He's the top BMW. René Rast, who's a former double Porsche Super Cup champion, Porsche Carrera Cup champion. He's raced at Le Mans, all sorts of GT experience, coming full-time into DTM this season. He's the top Audi in fourth place. That's his best qualifying. There you see on screen Gary Paffett. Now, he's a three-time winner, as I mentioned, at the Lausitzring, and all of his wins have come with 4-year gaps in between them. So he won in 2005, the year he won the championship. He won here in 2009. He won again 4 years later in 2013, and today is 4 years later. So, by all accounts, he should be winning this one. It's also his 150th DTM start. The team have put special livery on the front of the car to signify that. There you can see Mike Rockenfeller, who very much back on form as well. He's one of 6 champions in the field. There are 15 of the 18 drivers in the field this year that have been DTM race winners. So, yes, it's a slightly smaller grid than we've had in the past. It's been cut from 24 to 18 drivers, but the quality is there all the way through the field. And the racing at Hockenheim was absolutely superb. And we saw there at Hockenheim, Alex, that even if you didn't qualify that well, they had drivers like Matthias Ekstrom coming through the field, Marco Wittmann you heard from, and the VT there coming through to get on a podium from almost the back of the grid. So the way that we've got the cars running this year so closely matched, and certainly here the 3 manufacturers, there's nothing between them, there's no reason that you can't come through and get a podium even if you're nowhere on the grid, really.
Yeah, exactly. We saw this in Hockenheim. Guys coming like Marco Bima, like you said, coming from P17 to P3, or Mike Rockenfeller also on the Saturday race. He was P18, I think he was last on the grid, and he achieved a podium. So with these new tires, this new format, also this new safety car situation, this brings a lot of action, and we will see a lot of people coming from the back to the front of the grid.
That's right. So it's going to be a 55-minute race plus 1 lap. That will be the duration for race 2 this weekend as well. It's all coming up. So a big crowd gathered here at the Lausitzring. It's part of a motorsport festival weekend. We've got GT Masters racing here as well. Porsches, which Alex ran this circuit a few years ago. And also got Formula 4 action this weekend. So a bumper crowd you can see there in the huge grandstands that overlook the start-finish line. There is confirmation of the grid. Jamie Green is going to have to start at the back of the grid after a technical problem in qualifying. So you've got Paul de Resta, Bruno Spengler, former champions, and you've got Jamie Green, who is second in the championship standings, multiple race winner, all at the very back of the field. René Rast, one to watch though. René has been superb in pretty much everything he's driven, coming into DTM, perhaps long overdue. He did a few races at the end of last season. His best result so far in DTM is 6th place, but he has got every chance of improving upon that because, as I say, he is 4th on the grid. Well, let's hear now from Audi top man Dieter Gas, who's speaking to Verena down on the grid. Thanks, Verena. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch Jamie Green coming through. He's second in the championship for Audi Team Rosberg, having won the second race at Hockenheim. He won that one despite getting a penalty with a 5-second stop-go penalty. But he was so quick in the damp and wet conditions that even though he had that, he was able to win the race. He had a crash in the first race, though, but it shows how competitive it is this season because nobody's been getting 2 good races out of 2 so far. He won one, finished 18th in the other. Lucas Auer leads the championship on 40 points. He won a race, finished 4th in the other. Gary Paffett's been on the podium. Timo Glock had a podium. Mike Rockenfeller had a podium. And Marco Wittmann had a podium from the back of the grid. But nobody has yet scored 2 podiums. So it's wide open this season. And Jamie Green is going to be absolutely cracking on. Well, we've got Mercedes right at the front of the grid. They take the first 2 places, Verena. And it should be a good day for them, shouldn't it? That's good to hear from earlier. Not taking anything for granted, despite the fact he's got 2 of his cars on the front row of the grid. They can see Lucas Auer's pole car. Went so well here last year, got pole position, got his maiden race victory in DTM. Can he get his 3rd career victory in only his 38th race? Lucas is still only in his early 20s, nephew of Gerhard Berger, who's very much involved in behind the scenes now with ITR and the promotion of DTM. The ex-Formula 1 race winner, Gerhard Berger, his nephew, Lucas Auer, the Austrian driver, is there. This is now going to be his 3rd season in DTM. He's got progressively better. 23rd in 2015 he finished, 12th in the championship last year, but picking up some good results with the win here at Lausitzring. He got a 2nd place finish at the Nürburgring, 2 pole positions last year as well, and he really has carried that form through, Alex. And Lucas Auer is beginning to look like the rounded DTM driver now, but it's no surprise really that it's taken a couple of years to get there, because you've seen drivers come in from Formula 1 and from sports car racing that they're not quick straight away in DTM because the level is so high.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of drivers with a lot of experience, like Mike Rockenfeller or Bruno Spengler, Timo Glock. That's been here years and years, and they know the car, they know how it works, they know the racetracks. These tracks are not easy. This is a short track with a lot of twisty turns and bumpy. Mainly, if you come from Formula 1, for example, you're used to track which are really good prepared runoff areas. Here you have not runoff area at all. So it always takes a while to you adapt to a new series in a new car and new regulations.
So they've got these new tyres. It was very, very hot on free practice 1 yesterday. It's cooled down quite a bit today, the air temperature and the track temperature. But drivers Jamie Green saying to me yesterday and Gary Paffett and Timo Glock agreeing that they like the new tyre. They like the fact that they have to think more about looking after it. Last year's tyre was safe. It ran without really dropping off throughout the course of the race. But now they have seriously got to think about managing those tyres. Other big changes this year, they've got more horsepower, they've got less aero, still got the DRS, there's slight differences in the way that can be used up to 3 times a lap over 12 laps. They've got dual fin rear wing slats on the cars now, so there's more grip mechanically, slightly less downforce and a bit more power, so they're moving around more these cars this year. And the race durations are different. Both races now feature a mandatory pit stop, but and this is the crucial thing, you can make that pit stop whenever you like. There is no mandatory pit stop window. Once again this year there is no refueling, but the other big change to the pit stops, Alex, is where last year and the year before they were Formula 1 style pit stops. They were in and out in 3 seconds because they had so many people working around the car. This year it's been stripped back. There are a lot less people working on the car and longer pit stops therefore. Yeah,
this is a new thing for this year. We will see only 2 mechanics per side of the car. So with 4 mechanics and someone putting the air jack, 5 people, they have to do the full pit stop strategy. And that means mechanics have to change the front tires and then the rear tires, or the other way around. We will see some different pit stop strategy like we saw in Hockenheim. And this brings a lot of more action and also a lot of more mistakes. So we already saw some position change and different situation in Hockenheim. And I'm really sure we will see similar situations here in Lausitzring.
It'd be fascinating to see what the teams do and the manufacturers do with the different pit stop strategies as well in terms of when they come in, because we saw all sorts of different. Hockenheim, you said earlier in the qualifying show, Mike Rockenfeller came in really early. You had others coming in really late. But Gary Paffett joked actually in the press conference yesterday. He said, well, there's always different strategies and you can make a difference. But actually, he said we saw 3 different Audis on 3 totally different strategies at Hockenheim. They all came out on the same piece of track.
Yeah, exactly. We will see, like also we just heard Dieter Gas saying they will maybe try something crazy or something unusual with Jamie Green, so he's pulling to the front. And also we need to see how the safety car is playing the role. Many things we cannot control at the moment, but for sure they will get some car at the right moment at the rain situation to be in the front of the race.
Absolutely right. So the cars lined up then, getting ready to go. Jamie Green, right at the back there, the orange car. The green flag about to be waved. Some really quick drivers at the back of the field. Some really quick drivers all the way through the field. To the left of your picture is the pole sitter, Lucas Auer for Mercedes. The red lights all come on. As soon as they go out, we are racing here at the Lausitzring. Away we go. Robert Wickens with a decent start, but it's going to be Lucas Auer with his nose in front. And it's Wickens. Then it's the BMW of Maxime Martin. And René Rast is not far behind in 4th place. Timo Glock comes charging through in the yellow BMW as well, but can't get through, but he stays in 5th place. The top 4 all stay as they are here, no problems at all through the first tight corner. On board with Timo Glock, who made a very good run off the line, but wasn't really able to make it count as he went through the corner. So he started 5th, he's still in 5th place. And Lucas Auer away well, hooked that up beautifully from the start. He's about a length or so clear of Rob Wickens, the Canadian, in 2nd place. And it's Martin Rast and Glock rounding out the top 5. At the back of the field, some movers and shakers already as Jamie Green picked up some places. Not yet, he's still plumb last here in the orange Audi. They make their way through then the infield now and about to work their way through the tight, twisty section through turns 9, 10, 11 and 12. This is all about traction out of the corners and getting the best run possible, coming back out onto the oval banking here at the 3.4 kilometre long Lausitzring, the shortest circuit that we visit on the calendar. Working their way through. It's been very neat and tidy so far. There is the race leader. It's a Mercedes 1-2. BMW pursued by Audi, pursued by a pair of BMWs with Tom Blomqvist just off the back of Timo Glock running in 6th place. So a very steady start from everybody. Does have the potential for disaster into that first corner. It gets so tight, but they've done a nice job. And Lucas Auer is already well clear, 9/10 of a second clear at the end of the first lap of the race. But of course we've got DRS to consider as well, which you get within a second of the car ahead. You can start using DRS to attack. That was Marco Wittmann and Gary Paffett, I think, running wheel to wheel on the way into, yes it was, running into turn 1 together with Marco Wittmann twitching away. You're on board with Gary Paffett now as he tries to hang on to the tail of the reigning champion, the double champion Marco Wittmann. Gary Paffett looking for his first title since winning in 2005. He's finished second in the championship several times and had lots of bad luck along the way. And the newly delivered Mercedes for him. And they're right at the back of the field. Jamie Green still not picking up any positions here. He's got Luc Duval just in front of him as well, the French ex-sports car racer in the Castrol Edge Team Phoenix number 77 Audi. So a pair of Audis trying to work their way through at the back of the field. But tremendous start for Lucas Auer. 0.9 seconds clear of Rob Wickens. And excellent start by everybody here, Alex, in that they all got safely through their first potentially hazardous few corners.
Yeah, amazing start from all the grid. Also, no change of position within the first lap, so it's quite
unusual.
Quite interesting, quite unusual. Since everything stood the same. Yeah, we'll see now. I'm sure we'll see now some overtaking. Maxime Martin is attacking Robert Wickens. He's on a DRS zone, DRS open. Maxime Martin going on the outside. Yeah, he made it easy. So now Maxime Martin is up to P2.
Luc Duval is under investigation. Maxime Martin, second place then with that move. You can use DRS not just to attack but to defend. You get 36 uses of it at every racetrack. Used to vary depending on the number of the laps and the racetrack that we had, but it's 12 laps you can use it for, up to 3 pushes per pass. Sparks flying from the BMW of Maxime Martin. And the blue and white car, number 36, coming through around the outside and being applauded by his team. So Maxime, who picked up his first points, because another big change in the championship this year is that you score points for being in the top 3 in qualifying, 3 points for being on pole, 2 points for being second, a point for being third. Maxime didn't score any points, I'm afraid, at Hockenheim, but by being third on the grid, he picked up his first championship point, and he's now starting to get his season underway here. Maxime was a very good sports car racer before, and GT racer before he came into the DTM. A few seasons under his belt. There is Mike Rockenfeller, currently running in 8th place in the number 99 machine. Mike having a decent start to the season. As I say, already on the podium. It's his first podium for a little while. And the Audi Sport Team Phoenix driver is 5th in the standings. On board then with Gary Paffett. He's got work to do. He's in 11th spot. And a pit stop penalty, a 5-second pit stop penalty for Luc Duval for a jump start. As we see Timo Glock firing one down the inside of René Rast and gaining a place on the way into turn 1. And nice move that from the BMW driver to gain a place. So 4th and 5th swap around. Tom Blomqvist just behind. And we're going to get a replay of this. René Rast did his best to cover off the line. It required a bit of outbraking and a bit of locking up at the end. But good fair driving that from both members of the party, Alex.
Yeah, really good. Timo Glock used his chance to use the inside gap, and then René Rast, as soon as he saw Timo Glock was diving in, he left the room and let him pass.
Lucas Auer 1.3 seconds. Duval's going to have to serve his 5-second penalty when he comes into the pit stop. You don't have to come in and serve it separately. That's similar to what happened with Jamie Green. His penalty at Hockenheim, Jamie Green, was for the new restart procedure, 2x2 IndyCar style restart procedure that they have once the safety car peels in. And he was judged to have, by the officials, to have gone a bit too soon. He got the lead that way from the man you're looking at, Mike Rockenfeller. Look at the crowds in the grandstand. A huge amount of flag waving, a huge colour in the grandstands as well. It's absolutely packed here. Great support for the DTM. Great access for the fans as well. You can see the terrace there on the end of the pit lane. That, apart from the race, is open to fans to go and overlook the pit wall during the qualifying sessions and the other races. Some of the garages that are open as well, with viewing areas, special glass-plated garages where they can look right into the pit lane. So brilliant access for fans in DTM. Brilliant entertainment so far. Jamie Green, 17th. Got 1 place. He's got Luc Duval behind him now. Luc is going to have this longer pit stop. And starting to work his way onto the tail of Paul di Resta. So 2009 champion and ex-Formula 1 racer Paul di Resta will be the next target. There is Lucas Auer, though, 1.6 seconds clear of Maxime Martin. Robert Wickens in 3rd. 4th place for Timo Glock. 5th place for René Rast. But René's hanging onto the back of him, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, these two guys are having a battle since the lap before, but I'm impressed now at the moment of the rhythm from Lucas Auer. He's going red sector, so purple sector, best sector of the race, lap by lap. He's putting a gap, but this reminded me a little bit like Hockenheim. At the beginning, he was really strong, and then he really struggled at the end of the race with his tires, and he pitted so late. So we'll see what's going on with it. Jamie Green was going in the pits.
That's right. He had a 9-second lead, Lucas Auer, at one point in that race, but in the end, he was really having to defend, well, not one but two drivers. Yes, into the pits indeed, coming right past the commentary box window. Now down below is Jamie Green. So I suspected that it was going to be something different, as we heard, and was intonated on the grid. It was either going to be a very early pit stop or a very late pit stop. They've gone for an early one. That seems to be the sensible thing to do, really, Alex, because he wasn't getting anywhere in the traffic, was he?
Exactly. He now got his pit stop. My opinion, a bit too early, but let's see how those tires can handle a long stint of 47 minutes into the race. We saw quite a good pit stop, 7.5. Like we said before, slightly longer times than last year because less mechanics helping the car. And it's really interesting to see how is the performance of the Audi during the rain. We saw in Hockenheim the Audis can really do fast lap times with a lot of miles on the tires, a lot of kilometers on the tires. So we'll see how it's working for Jamie Green.
It's actually even more impressive, I think, to have a 7-second pit stop with so few crew members than it was to have the 3-second pit stops with everybody around the car. Because I think the prediction was it might be more like 10 seconds at the start of the season, but they're already getting quicker and quicker, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. This is about practice, and I'm sure we will see some sub 6 seconds at the end of the season.
Absolutely, yeah. No doubt about it. So, fantastic. Teamwork, which is every bit as important as what the driver is doing out on the track. Lucas Auer leads by nearly 2 seconds now, and another one coming into the pits is Matthias Ekstrom. So Eki comes in for a very early pit stop. He was stuck in the middle of the pack as well. Nice wide pit lane here at Lausitzring, probably the biggest pit lane that they have, so plenty of room for them to work. Away they go, 7.4 seconds. That was very good as well, wasn't it? So Eki going back out. We get a replay of the start. And this was, as Alex said, very unusual in that nobody actually overtook anybody. They all held formation. This is where it normally gets squeezed between turns 1 and turns 2. It got tight. There were 3 abreast at stages, but it was good, clean racing from everybody. Timo Glock looked like he might try one around the outside of René Rast at one point, but he ran out of road and didn't have an opportunity to do so. Sven Muller got onto the dirt a little bit. Here's what it looks like to be on board a DTM car running into turn 1 here. Pick your line and go with it. And the start of a race like this, Alex, you've started many races in GT cars and in Porsches. When you're going into turn 1 here at the Lausitzring, you've got to have eyes everywhere, haven't you? It's not just what you're doing. You've got to look at everybody else as well, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's not so easy. You need to look on the front, of course, but you also need to look a bit on the mirror, not that someone is overshooting the corner and hitting in you, let's say, on your door, on the driver door. So it's not so easy. We see someone going again, also Bruno Spengler coming also into the pits. So we're watching.
It's all the ones with nothing to lose, really. That's coming in, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty early pit stop. Let's see how quick it is.
It comes in from 16th place. And this one is really slower, isn't it, I think? Is it? Yeah, a little bit. Not much. 7.7 seconds. We'll give them that. That's a good effort. And right at the end of the pit lane as well, so we'll rejoin. And back out he now goes. And he goes out in front of Ekstrom, who has got Jamie Green right behind him. So there you just got a glimpse of those two. So the 3 pit stoppers all together, really. But Spengler ahead of Ekstrom, ahead of Green in the race between the pit stoppers. And looking out the window, Jamie Green looks like he's lining up a move. Matthias Ekstrom is just about to go past Bruno Spengler off camera. And so too, Jamie Green will get past Spengler, getting the tyres up to temperature, because no tyre warmers allowed in DTM this year. So that is another factor that the drivers have to deal with. Lucas Auer doing a fantastic job at the head of the field, but Maxime Martin, last time around, set the fastest first sector of the race so far as Mike Rockenfeller, the onboard camera, comes in to make his pit stops. And Augusto Farfus comes in as well, so quite a few early pit stops.
We will need to push for lap times until the end of the race. We are on a good mood.
So push as hard as you can is the message to Mike Rockenfeller. He was running in 8th place, I think, before he came into the pits. Can he get out in front of Jamie Green?
The rear
stopper. Oh,
rear left got stuck.
Oh, and that's going to cost a couple of seconds at least. Farfus is going to get, Rockefeller's going to get past. Farfus is going to come out now. That wasn't particularly quick at 8 seconds either. And where will they come out in relation to Jamie Green? Jamie's just going into the turn with Matthias Ekström. Turn 1 they are at, going into turn 2 now. So there they are, nose to tail. But don't forget, the other two have got to get their tyres up to temperature, haven't they?
Exactly, they are now on cold tyres. Gustav Farfus, so Jamie Green and Eki will get closer. Let's see if he can manage to get the tyres into temperature. We see the car waving a bit on the brakes. We see now a replay.
This was the move, yeah, Jamie Green with that very good out-braking manoeuvre on Matthias Ekström going into turn 1. And they both got past Bruno Spengler. We saw when he came out of the pits as he came out back onto the Indy banking. Marco Wittmann is the next one to come into the pits. Spengler is plumb last at the moment. We've had 6 drivers that have either made a pit stop or about to make a pit stop now. Marco Wittmann, fond memories of this place because this is where he wrapped up his first championship at the Lausitzring back in 2014. Won again the title last year. Marco gets the tyres on.
Slow pit stop.
Clear.
Almost 10 seconds.
Yeah, 10 seconds. 3 seconds lost when everybody in the whole field in qualifying, Alex, were within a second of each other. So mostly there's nothing between them. Mostly there's only a tenth or so between them. Marco Wittmann about to lose a place to Mike Rockenfeller, I think, with the onboard camera. Yes, it is. So Rocky comes through and gains a place on Marco Wittmann. And they're really struggling, aren't they, at this circuit to get those tyres working fully straight out of the box. 500 plus horsepower and cold tyres is hard to manage, isn't it?
It's not a good mix, to be honest. But I mean, the drivers is the same for everyone. So at the end, everyone is handicapped, let's say, with the same situation. But I mean, the driver who managed to get the tyres earlier in temperature, the better for him. So this is playing a new big role into these new regulations.
Saw a big lock up from Marco Wittmann, who's now coming under more and more pressure from Jamie Green, who snatches the pace on the way into the left-hander. So through he comes. Wittmann was that was caused of the problem that he had at the corner before, really, where he'd locked up, went deep into the corner. Then he's got Augusto Farfus, the Brazilian driver, up behind him as well, trying to come through in the red, white and yellow shell BMW. There they are. And Matthias Ekström is in the mix as well. Look how quickly, though, Jamie Green has gone away from them. The first of the pit stoppers. His tyres a bit more up to temperature, but as Alex quite rightly says, he's got to make them last an awfully long way into the race. He might be struggling late on. Side by side here. Who's going to get through? Who's the last of the late breakers? It's Eki, who gets his nose in front. Ekström goes through as well, and both of them get past the reigning champion Marco Wittmann, the BMW, losing 2 places on the way into turn 1. So fantastic scrapping, and they might be a long way down the field, these drivers, but of course they've all pitted. And they all know they cannot afford to get held up by a slower car at this stage. They've got to try and gain ground now. But this was brilliant, Alex. Talk us through this.
Yeah, we saw Matthias Ekström using his DRS. He took advantage of this during, say, along the straight line, and then he really ran on the brakes, did a really late brake, hold Gustav Farfus a bit on the outside, and managed to pass both cars. So really good maneuver from Matthias Ekström, and now he has free road to keep pushing and keep chipping down the time.
Farfus was also almost willing him through the corner, wasn't he? Go on, I'll follow you through, we'll both get him. And they did so. Jamie Green, last on this lap, has set the fastest first sector of anybody. He's done a personal best in sector 2. He's 14th overall. He's trying to hunt down Mike Rockenfeller, who's the leading pit stopper at the moment in 13th place. Rocky, 120.2 last time around. And the gap coming down all the time as Jamie Green pushes on. Timo Glock's team getting ready here. The BMW driver, the Deutsche Post BMW driver, and the RMR team getting ready for him. There he is. Still only just ahead of René Rast. They're 4th and 5th. He passed René Rast quite early in the race on the way into turn 1. René has held on to him here, doing a fine job. And at the moment, he's on for his best result in DTM so far because he's in 5th place. His best, he's had a couple of 6th place finishes, including one at Hockenheim at the end of last season when he did the last few races of the year. There is Paul de Resta. There's another one that started a long way down the grid, but has not opted to make an early pit stop in the Mercedes. So perhaps he's going to try something at the other end of the spectrum. And a move there from René Rast to get his own back on Timo Glock. Down the inside, on board with Timo now. Trying to find a way back through, but he won't do it there. And into the pits, we've got another BMW. Tom Blomqvist comes into the pits now to make his stop. So that puts de Resta into the top 10. So as long as Di Resta can make the tyres keep working towards the end of this first stint, if he can push to a late pit stop, he'll be very quick at the end of the race potentially, if that's what the plan is. Tom Blomqvist goes there, 8.5 seconds. We're becoming slightly sniffy about 8.5 second stops now, because we've seen 7.5 second stops, but it's not too bad. And he comes out in front of Rockenfeller and Green, who are now ever closer, look, in this battle. So Blomqvist is the leading pit stopper so far. You're looking at Jamie Green, who is all over the back of Mike Rockenfeller. These two both making early pit stops, both with good tyres, but how will these tyres be at the end of the race? This softer compound Hankook tyre, the gap between these two, just a couple of tenths of a second.
Yeah, we might not forget in the front, Robert Wickens, so Maxime Martin is losing some time. Robert Wickens is getting closer and closer. He's now in DRS window. It's 0.7, so 7 tenths behind Maxime Martin. So he can now use his DRS, and we might see maybe soon some temptation from Robert Wickens to pass Maxime Martin and get the position back.
Yeah, you're right. It's 118, mid 118s for the pair of them. Now Paul Di Resta comes in. He's not making that late pit stop that I thought he may be going for. It's relatively early still. We've still got 37.5 minutes of the race to go. It's just that we've had some very, very early pit stops. Gamble that may or may not pay off. So Di Resta, 2009 champion in, and 8.8 seconds. That's okay. He's been a race winner here in the past. Paul Di Resta won here in, or got a pole position here rather in 2010. And won the race in 2008 as well. Look at that train of pit stoppers. So Paul Di Resta is now the leading pit stopper, but he's got a gang of 3 right behind him. And around contact between the two, and around goes Tom Blomqvist. And that means Jamie Green's going to get to the head of that group. I would have thought, well, Rockenfeller and Green were right behind that incident. So Rockenfeller still just ahead of Green. They both get through. And now Paul Di Resta, that was just a lock-up. I wondered if bodywork was rubbing on the wheels, but no, it's okay. He's managed to keep going. That was quite a hefty piece of contact. We're going to get a replay of it now.
This is Paul Di Resta. He's coming out on cold tires. He brakes, he turns around. The car doesn't turn around, blocking, and he clipped Blomqvist on his way. This is exactly the example we're talking about, the cold tires. It's so hard. You go out, you have no grip at all. As a driver, it's a feeling you cannot, it's hard to describe, but you have no grip at all. Of course, we lock in the inside, turn around, as it's not turning, and clip, unfortunately, Blomqvist on his way out. Of course, we are battling for position, so...
Yeah, and for anybody that doesn't have the chance to drive a racing car, I suppose that, like when it's really wet and you turn in and the steering wheel and there's a lot of surface water, that's what it feels like. It's like almost being on ice, isn't it? Because you've got so much power. You just touch that throttle with all that horsepower going into slick tyres, and they're cold tyres, and you spin around, and yeah, just understeered off, didn't he? Understeered. You turn in the wheel and nothing happened, and he understeered into Blomqvist, who was committed to the outside. Good news for these two, Mike Rockenfeller and Jamie Green. The strategy is working at the moment for Jamie Green, but you say, I do wonder what the tyres are going to be like. He's a smooth driver, is Jamie, but whether he can make these tyres last till the end of the race, we shall see. But even if they do start to go off, if he gets himself up in a good position, we'll see if he can get into the points, into the top 10. That will be a good result for him. At the moment, they're running in 11th and 12th positions. They are now the leading 2 pit stoppers. It was briefly Paul Di Resta, but after that contact, that did not help. No, scratch that. The leading pit stopper's right in front of them because Gary Paffett's just been in the pits. Di Resta drive-through penalty for causing a collision. So, as you say, struggling with the cold tyres, but they've taken a dim view upon that in race control, and he's going to get a penalty. And he's already been into the pits, of course. So, Gary Paffett there, the silver Mercedes, working hard. If anybody can cope with the car on cold tyres, it's maybe Gary Paffett, but Mike Rockenfeller, he's poised here. He's got the better run coming out of the banking, charging down towards turn 1. He's got DRS as well. DRS for Gary Paffett to try and defend, hopping and bouncing there over the road. They go into the corner, and Mike Rockenfeller down the inside, deep into the corner, but he should be able to get it back. And he gets the place. Jamie Green got close, but wasn't able to find a way through. So that's for 10th place. That's into the points, into the top 10 for Mike Rockenfeller, driving really nicely at the moment. But of course, as the race goes on, his tyres are going to be a lot older than Gary Paffett's tyres. So Gary will know this, and he'll know that maybe it's going to come back to him later in the race.
Yeah, exactly. We will see later on the race some chase from people starting to suffer this grain, this degradation, and going losing time and going back. The one which is not suffering any degradation at all is Lucas Auer, which is firing off in the first place, driving every lap in the lows 18. Now he did the 1:18.00, and with Robert Wickens came in also into the pits. in the pre-3.
Yep, third place man in. First of the real front runners to pit. There's Jamie Green. Well, so far, you say it's working. He's gone from 18th to 12th. And there we see the 51 Nico Muller car. That was a good pit stop, 7.8 seconds. That's one of the best we've seen. So Robert is sent back out by the HWA team. And the Mercedes will rejoin with nobody around him. That's perfect, actually. They do look at this, don't they, where you will rejoin as well, whether you're coming into any traffic. But nobody around him as Jamie Green's going down the inside of Gary Paffett on the way into turn 1. Good move. He gets through. Gary tries to snatch back at him. These two had a 1-2. A British 1-2 at Hockenheim it was. They're together again here. As Paul de Resta comes in to serve his drive-through penalty, that's going to kill his results. Not had a good start to the season, I'm afraid, as Paul. Difficult Hockenheim as well. So drive-through penalty out of the way, but that drops him to last place now. Back out he goes. So Jamie Green going well. 11th and 12th, Green and Paffett.
Maxime Martin just came also into the pit lane.
Yeah, in from second place. Maxime comes in. Couple of seconds behind, as you say, the flying Lucas Auer. And as long as Lucas's tyres are hanging on like this, there's no need to come in. If you can make them last and they don't drop off, pit as late as you can, I guess, and then you've got good tyres for the end of the race. Good work from BMW. It's a lot of work to do for the team, isn't it? More running around, more physical work.
That was a good pit stop.
That's the best, I think, isn't it? 7.3. Yeah. Excellent pit stop. And as you say, if you can gain half a second in the pits, it can take 2 or 3 or 4 laps to get half a second back when they're so evenly matched on the track. They're only a 1/10 of a second apart, so play a huge role, the teams. Wickens has rejoined in 9th place.
Yeah, but we've seen that the tires of Lucas Auer are lasting really good. He's on the lap 17, almost halfway through the race, and is still running in low 1/18s. So that means the tires are lasting quite a lot. When he's coming out to the box.
Race leader comes in, so Lucas Auer, after a superb first stint, brings the car in, looking to pick up.
Lucas, we're looking good. Remember brake balance, and push on the front tires.
Got his maiden win here last year, 7th and 1st in the 2 races at Lausitzring. On pole position,
let's see the pit stop.
Nice.
That was a good one.
That's
really
the best one yet. 7.2. It all looked quite calm though, didn't it? It looked very calm and collected. The natural human reaction must be to panic and to rush, because you know you've only got 7 seconds to do it, but they just stay calm, and by being calm and getting everything accurate, they get a quicker pit stop. So through they come, and there is Maxime Martin. And yes, he's in front of Maxime Martin, isn't he? So they are 6th and 7th overall, but effectively they're going to be 2nd and 3rd once the pit stops rejoin. And there we go, Robert Wickens right onto the tail of Maxime Martin. Down the inside he goes, bit more grip on the car, on the tyre, and Maxime knew he couldn't do anything about it, gave him the room. So overall, effectively a change for 2nd place there. René Rast now pick up the race lead from Sven Muller. Timo Glock 3rd, but they haven't been in the pits. One has now come into the pits, so that's Timo Glock coming in. Having another good run here, Timo.
Just looking at the time screen, so somehow problem for Maro Engel, who lost a lot of position. He lost a lot of time in the 1st sector. As well for Robin, for Wickens, which is now last. He also lost a lot of time in the 1st sector. Right, so it's out of the contention for the podium, definitely.
Let's see what's going on there then. Whether it's a glitch or whether something has gone awry. As we look at Timo Glock's pit stop, going to be pretty good. Okay, actually, 9.6 seconds. See, that's a couple of seconds slower than some of the real front runners. And Rocking Fellow is going to have the better grip available to him. And off the road goes Timo Glock. No grip on the car. It goes over the gravel trap, kicks up the dust. And he's going to get a trainer that coming past him as well. Brocky's already through. Gary Paffett now closes up to goes through. And Gary Paffett's got Matthias Ekstrom right on his tail. So totally no grip there for him. Jamie Green's going to get past him as well now. He's lost 4 places, but he's really struggling. Now, is that just cold tyres? Is that just a driver used to this, and on this track as well, where it can be a bit harder to get the tyres up to temperature, or has he got another problem? He's on board with Timo, and let's see how little grip he's got here, Alex, when he comes out on the cold tyres.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, exactly. This is something same like it happened a bit to Paul de Resta. You come out of the pit, there's no grip at all on your tires.
It's like being on
It's
ice,
nothing.
wasn't it? Turn the wheel, nothing happened.
Exactly.
They're so careful, haven't they? That's cost him a load of time and 4 places, maybe 5 or 6 places, because he's got Augusto Farfus and Marco Wittmann queuing up behind him now. So Timo Glock finds himself down in 12th place. Got 5 BMWs together there. Glock, Farfus, Wittmann, Spengler and Blomqvist, all quite low down the order. 12th down to 16th. Only Maxime Martin running well. He's 7th, Maxime Martin. He should be third once the pit stops sort themselves out. The top 4 at the moment have not yet pitted. Lucas Auer is 5th, but he's the leading driver that's had a pit stop. Robert Wickens is 6th, but again, has made his pit stop. So they should be the 1-2. Maxime Martin 3rd, but then it's anybody's. Mike Rockenfeller could be getting a 4th place out of this, because he is currently the 4th best pit stopper. It just depends what the likes of René Rast in particular do, and maybe Muller and Mortara as well, who went too far behind. Luke Duval is currently running in 4th place in his debut DTM season. So 27 minutes to go, still only around about halfway into the race, and most people have opted to make the pit stop, but some are going to try and eke out these tyres as long as possible. What's René Rast doing? Mid 118, so still pulling away from Muller and Mortara, but he's doing mid 118s. Lucas Auer on the new tyres is doing 117.6, and Robert Wickens has just set the fastest lap of the race with a 117.5. So the new tyre of Lucas Auer is a second a lap quicker than René Rast on the older tyre. So there is the race leader, but if he's losing a second a lap, he's going to have to start thinking about pitting soon, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. This is what's happened now with the tire. You have this graining, this degradation. This is like, if you watch the tire, it looks like a bit of marbles, and exactly, it drops the time. Whether he can keep driving with this and maybe do a really short lasting, we will see, or we might maybe see him pitting really soon.
Yeah, it depends how steep the curve is, how much it drops off and how quickly. Robert Wickens absolutely flying. He's done another fastest first sector. So he's trying to close the gap to Lucas Auer. That's who his battle is with, and he's doing it at the moment. He's a 10th and a half quicker on the previous lap. And the gap between Lucas Auer and Robert Wickens is relatively minimal. So through René Rast, there is effectively the race leader, Lucas Auer, once everybody does their pit stops. It should be, at least. With Robert Wickens chasing down in the Mercedes. Quite a big gap, though. And I think overall, Lucas Auer's advantage is more than it was. So Luke Duval, who picked up a 5-second penalty very early in the race for a jump start, has had to serve that. And then he pulls out of the penalty box and now goes in to make his pit stop. It's World Endurance Champion of 2013, Luke Duval. A Le Mans winner as well with Audi, with Team Jost. In the same season now in DTM. Wheel spinning away, but sticking to that maximum pit lane speed. He's right at the end of the pit lane again as well, so he can quickly get onto the throttle. René Rast has stayed out. 118.2, that lap was better actually. So as long as he can keep this up, this is good driving. And this is somebody who's well used to endurance races, isn't it, René Rast? And looking after tyres and making the car last as long as possible. And the tyres last as long as possible. So at the moment, it's an Audi 1-2.
Yes, also for the people,
coming though, I think now.
For the people watching at home, Maro Engel was on the bottom of the classification, and that's on the top. So I think was some kind of timing issue. Glitch. Because we also saw in weekend, I said before, he was down in the second to last, and then he went up. So we might have had some glitch in the transponder, and he's now back into his position in the race.
Yeah, right. Nico Muller gets some new tyres put on.
Quick pit stop. Oh, 6.9.
Oh, right, there we go. The gauntlet has been laid down then. We've broken the 7-second barrier now. Excellent job by the team. And he pits from inside the top 4 does Nico Muller. Christian Abb's team, Ab Sportsline, with the fastest pit stop so far today. That was very good, 6.9 seconds. There is Mike Rockenfeller though, going well. 8th overall, but maybe not on for a podium, but certainly on for a top 4 or top 5 finish here. if he can keep the car going. There is Muller then. So Muller has come out of the pits. He's on cold tyres. Mike Rockenfeller's really got to make this lap count now, hasn't he? He's got to push hard, knowing that the man ahead is on the cold tyres and he can gain a lot of time. So there is Rocky and the 99 car. More to come in. And René Rast from the lead comes into the pits now to make his stop. Meanwhile, Rockenfeller from a long way back is already drawing alongside and through on Sven Muller. That's how much difference the tyres make. At the end of the day, Alex, it doesn't matter how much horsepower and how much aerodynamic grip you've got. If your tyres are no good, you know, where are you in a race car?
Yeah, I had an engineer, they always ask us, so guys, which is the most important part of your car? Everyone said, the engine, because without the engine it's not working. And say, yeah, you forget the tire. The thing that puts your engine into the ground.
Exactly, yeah.
So the tire is the most important part of a car, and we see this, and now when the tire is not warm up, this is a chemical products working together. I think a tire is made more of 50 chemical products, so it's really amazing, the mixture. If it's not working together, it's not getting the grip.
René Rast comes out just in front of Maxime Martin, but there's no way he's going to keep him back with the cold tyres, so Martin comes through. So effectively, that's for third and fourth positions once the pit stop settled down. It should be Lucas Auer in the lead of the race, Robert Wickens second, Maxime Martin, and then is René Rast. And fifth place overall is, once it all settles down, going to be that man, Mike Rockenfeller. He's having a terrific drive so far. Another one for the 2013 DTM champion. Very much back on form. He was 19th in the championship last year, Mike Rockenfeller. It was an awful year for him. He had one good result, a fourth place finish in Hungary at Budapest. But it's been a couple of seasons to forget for him, really. He had a win in 2015. But Mike Rockenfeller off to a very, very good start to the season. And somebody else that knows that you can't possibly win many races in a season of DTM. It's too close for that. And in fact, the year he won the championship, he only picked up 2 race wins. Granted, there were less races back then, not the double-header format that we have now, but Mike is one to play the long game, doing a very, very good job so far. Very early pit stopper. That tactic working for him as it did at Hockenheim. See the cars down the high-speed sections down the banking getting down towards turn 1, really hopping and bouncing around the front of the cars, aren't they?
Yeah, we see the car. It's a really bumpy zone. We see a really bumpy zone, and especially when we see the cars opening the DRS, they lose so much aerodynamic overall, even if it's only the rear wing, that they even bump more because they lose this aerodynamic traction.
It's not pushing
it's pushing the car down onto the track.
Yeah. So a real hairy ride, but they have to get the foot well and truly planted. So Rocky doing well. Mortara is the race leader, new to Mercedes this year, of course.
And he went just PB, personal best in Sector 2, so looks like his tires are still working.
Yeah, actually, 1:18.2, best lap that he's done in the whole race on tyres, which have now been run for, 45 minutes, basically. So excellent job by Mortara. He's 3.4 seconds clear of the Maro Engel car. And they're the only 2 that haven't been in the pits now. Everybody else has pitted. You can see from the graphic on your screen, the big P sign in the green circle shows that they've had at least 1 pit stop in the race. So Mercedes 1, 2, 3, 4 currently, at BMW in 5th place, but Mortara and Engel are going to drop back somewhere in and around the 6th, 7th place mark, I would think.
Do you think, Chris, they might do a really, really late pit stop, either in Mortara or Maro Engel?
Now Lucas Auer is 12.5 seconds down on Eduardo Mortara. Mortara is lapping in the low 118s. Auer is lapping in 117.6. So it's only 0.6 of a second quicker on that lap. It's going to take him a long time to catch the gap, but of course he's going to lose all the time going into the pits. But yeah, if he could be looking at a top 6 finish here if he leaves it to the last possible minute. I think you're right. I think because he's not losing that much time relative to the others, I mean, relative to the drivers like Ekstrom and Muller, they're in the same sort of lap time as him, even with fresher tyres.
Definitely Maro Engel is not following their strategy. He just came into the pit stop.
So it's just Mortara then to pit. Engel in. Wickens 117.7. He's falling away from Lucas Auer. He is around about 6 seconds behind him, but about 4 seconds clear of Martin. Martin is 4 seconds clear of Rast, who's 2.5 clear of Rockenfeller, but has he been caught? No, Rast has just done a personal best slightly, ever so slightly quicker. Mortara pushing on. You can see the gap from 1st to 7th, which is about where he's going to be battling. He's going to be in around Mike Rockenfeller, isn't he, once the pit stop happens. And he can still do it when he likes. He can do it on the last lap if you want. Well, last but one lap if he wants. And how's Jamie Green getting on? He was dead last. He's 11th. I think Mortara would come out in front of him as well. So
Also pit now for Mortara, coming into the box.
he is, yeah. So he's going to have 17 minutes, something like that. But he's going to have very good tyres, of course, relative to everybody else. He's going to have drivers like Mike Rockenfeller and Jamie Green around him that have got very old tyres now. We'll see how this fares. So Mortara comes in the Mercedes, the Italian. He went so well in last year's championship as an Audi driver, finishing in 2nd place. Only 4 points between him and Marco Wittmann in the end. Runner-up in the championship, switching across to Mercedes. What can he do here? I think it's going to be a podium, but he could get a top 6 finish if this goes well. He's going to be one to watch at the end of the race. 7.5 seconds, one of the best pit stops that we've seen. And he's going to come out behind Rocky because he's going to have the cold tyres as well. So Gary Paffett's got a chance of getting past him as well, I reckon.
He should come just between Nico Müller and Maro Engel somehow.
That's right, here he is there. Mortara loses the place to Rockenfeller. Nothing he can do. Gary Paffett, I'm sure, is going to get him as well.
Struggling with the tyres.
But then he might be okay. He's got a bit of a gap back, hasn't he? So through they come. And Gary Paffett will therefore progress up to 6th place. So 7th place for Mortara, but a bit of a gap back to Eki in 8th place. And Eki's not close enough to pounce, and the tyres are going to quickly come up to temperature. By the end of the lap, Mortara will have tyres that are more fully functioning. He should be okay. He should be able to fend off Eki. Gary Paffett is on a charge. He's got fresher tyres than Mike Rockenfeller, and he's looking good here, Gary Paffett, to gain another place. This is for 5th and 6th positions now. So Lucas Auer leads. Rob Wickens is 2nd. Auer's gone across the line. All the battles, really, are outside of the top 3 positions. And we're going to have some real scraps in the last 16 minutes of the race. I'd still keep an eye on Mortara. He's going to be flying, isn't he, with the new tyres on the car after this lap. If he can keep Matthias Ekstrom behind him, this is crucial. He needs to keep Eki behind him to have a chance of catching the 2 ahead. But here comes Eki on the DRS. Down the inside he will come. And careful, there's another one. Muller right behind as well. Loses the place. He could have done without that. Could have done with just keeping him at bay just for one more corner and then get the tyres up to speed and then start to attack. But he couldn't do it. And Ekstrom goes 7th. Mortara down to 8th place, the person to make the last pit stop. And now he's got Nico Müller getting a better run coming out and back onto the oval section of the course as well. But he can't find a way through.
Yeah, to sum up, we have to see Lucas Auer is now P1 with a really strong pace. He's chipping away even lap by lap, 10s by 10s to Robert Wickens with now a gap of 7.1 seconds. Then Maxime Martin is pretty equal to Robert Wickens. They are lapping pretty much the same time and they have a gap of 4 seconds now. So the podium place looks really solid at the moment. But we still have 15 minutes to go, so everything can happen.
René Rast has got relatively good tyres. He's 4th, so he should be able to pull away from Mike Rockenfeller in 5th. Mike's got Gary Paffett all over him like an angry wasp. And then you've got Mortara, who might come back into this for the last few laps, who's got the freshest tyres of everybody in 7th place in the Mercedes. Ekstrom in the Audi.
DRS for Nico Müller with Mortara. He should have it pretty much down on the brakes.
And through he comes, simple as that. And again, Mortara loses another place. So lost one to Ekstrom, he's lost one to Muller. He's down to 9th place now. 10th place is Maro Engel. Maro will be well pleased if he can get in the points here.
Yeah, we need to watch now. René Rast is lapping pretty faster, a bit faster than Maxime Martin.
Yeah.
And he chipped on the last lap. He was 9/10 faster than Maxime Martin. So he's getting closer and closer to the BMW. So we might see some battling for the 3rd place of the podium soon between the Belgian and the German.
Just about 3 seconds between them, isn't that? BMW versus Audi. So it's a Mercedes 1-2. Martin is the leading BMW in 3rd. 4th, the leading Audi, is René Rast, looking for his first DTM podium and with relatively fresh tyres on the car. There's Jamie Green, 11th place, agonisingly just out of the top 10 at the moment. So it's a squabble for behind, really. Rockenfeller, Paffett, Ekstrom. 6.9 seconds. The gap's come down a little bit, but Lucas Auer is
New
got
fastest
under
lap.
control.
New fastest lap of the race for René Rast.
Yes, taken 7/10 of a second out of Maxime Martin on that lap alone. So he's flying, isn't he? He can sense a podium. He's never had a DTM trophy for podium position before. Can he do it? There he is.
We will see now the difference visually. Yeah, it's not so far away.
Gets within a second. He gets to use his DRS as well, doesn't he? So
exactly.
13 minutes, still quite a long time to go. Mike Rockenfeller has somehow managed to pull away from Gary Paffett. So looking strong here in the Audi.
Again, 3/10 faster in Sector 1 for René Rast compared to Maxime Martin. Let's see now Sector 2.
Maro Engel doing well in the points in 10th place. Former GT World Cup winner and also winner of the spectacular end, which went literally down to the last lap of the race in the Nürburgring 24-hour race last year, which is coming up next weekend as well. So Maro Engel, great time of year for him 12 months ago. Can he have another good May, this time in 2017, by picking up points here at the Lausitzring in DTM? On board with Gary Paffett. He's just fallen away a little bit in the last couple of laps from the tail of Mike Rockenfeller. He's running in 6th place though.
So 1.8 seconds between Maxime Martin and René Rast. So if they keep this rhythm, I think we will see René Rast in the DRS zones really soon.
Absolutely. Mortara struggling a little bit in 9th place to get the tyres up to temperature, but now that he has, he's going quickly. 1:17.7 for Mortara, so he's now just done his best lap of the race. And he's one of the quickest drivers on the track, so he's got to try and catch back up to Muller and Ekstrom to gain some more points in this race. There's Rockenfeller in 5th, Paffett in 6th place, Ekstrom in 7th, Muller in 8th. 9th is the pink Mercedes of Mortara, but he's now beginning to fly now the tyres. It's taken a little while, 2 or 3 laps to get up to speed. Now that they're working, still going to be one to watch. He's still got nearly 12 minutes to make his way through the order as well. So a chance for some extra points to be gained here. Gary Paffett, 3rd in the championship, Gary Paffett. More good points here if he can stay in the top 6. 0.9 of a second, just closing slightly onto the tail of Mike Rockenfeller on the previous lap. Now is René Rast getting on. Lucas Auer crosses the line.
It's coming now into the banking. They are really close. I think not this lap, but the next lap, René Rast will be in DRS zone of Maxime Martin. And we might see some...
Rob Wickens hasn't entirely given up yet. It's just done 1:17.
1 second, exactly 1 second, so it's already on DRS zone.
Going well, isn't he? René's got the bit between his teeth here. We've also got Robert Wickens, who's not given up on a win here. He's got the gap down from over 7 seconds to 6.6. It's going quickly with a 1:17.6. Lucas Auer looking for his 2nd win here at the Lausitzring within the 12-month period. He's about to make his way into the sweeping right-hander at turn 7. Into the left at turn 6 goes this battle for 3rd place. Maxime Martin being hunted down by René Rast in the Audi. BMW trying to cling on to the final place in the podium. Audi trying to get onto the podium with a 1-2 lockout for Mercedes in this first race of the weekend at the DTM. René Rast is within DRS reach now. You can use it up to 3 times. That's if he's not used them all up. Should be okay though. Hasn't really been using much of it, and he's got what 3 car lengths to try and make up now and then find his way through. His best bet absolutely is going to be going into turn 1, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, he needs to now get a good run out of last corner into the banking. He will open now DRS. We'll see DRS open by... Oh, it's not open in DRS. He's waiting a bit.
Martin got a good run off the banking as well, so he's just a bit too far back. You get 36 uses of it, but if you use it once on a lap, all 3, you have a maximum of 3, are wiped out on that lap as Nico Muller comes into the pits.
Does he get any kind of penalty? Doesn't look like.
So this is the move on Mortara.
Why is it coming?
It's a retirement. He's been guided into the garage down below the commentary box rather than a penalty, so it's clearly an issue has just developed on that car. There he goes, sent into the garage by the team. No chance of even trying to get the car back out for the race, I'm afraid. So Nico Muller out of the running. Shame for him after what was a pretty strong drive. Good news for Jamie Green. That puts him into the top 10, puts him into the points from the very back of the field.
So we have Maxime Martin and René Rast nose to tail at the moment, coming into the last 2 corners of the racetrack. We'll see now if René Rast uses DRS into the main straight to get that 3rd position. They're really, really close.
Closer
Coming out
this
of the
time, isn't he?
banking, nose to tail. We cannot see it on the TV.
He's coming though. That'll be the next two into your shot. There they are. He's much closer this time, isn't he, Rene Rast? Surely he's going to come through. Look at all the rubber on the circuit as well.
open.
Hopping and skipping his way down. He's got the inside line. Rene Rast is about to go third and on for his maiden podium in the DTM. And rockets away coming out of the corner as well. That was a lovely pass. Didn't go overzealously into the corner and was able to get good exit speed as well. So third and fourth you are now looking at. Maxime Martin just dropping away. It's still going to be a good result for Maxime relative to what he's had so far this season. But he'll be a little bit gutted not to be on the podium. But Rene Rast had the fresher tyres with the different strategies that these two drivers and teams used. Look at that for a pass. And the exit speed was impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, we saw he was chipping away all the laps, so that means Rene Rast is running a much better tires than Maxime Martin. Maxime Martin is struggling. Not that he's losing a lot of time, because we still have 7 minutes, and Rockefeller is also coming really close.
I was just looking at that, yeah.
Let's see if Maxime Martin doesn't drop more, because also when you start dropping and losing time, you drop more and more and more. It's increasing. So we'll see how it's going towards the end of the race. But like I was saying, yeah, Rene Rast uses DRS and then his better tires to go down, dive in the brakes, get the inside line, and use the traction and go out of the corner.
I'll tell you who's impressed me. Mike Rockenfeller, who was one of the first to pit. He's still lapping in the 117s, 117.8. Tremendous job by him. Mortara pitted not very long ago. He's only a 2 or 3 tenths quicker, so really good effort this by Rocky. He's having to work hard because he's got Gary Paffett not that far behind him. Matthias Ekstrom in the number 5 Audi. And there Mortara, and that group with the freshest tyres. He was the last but one to pit.
You know, we see
the last to pit, wasn't he? The last one to pit.
Yeah, exactly. We see now the gap between Mike Rockenfeller and Maxime Martin is down to 3 seconds. So it's not everything decided yet.
Slow that, wasn't it, for Martin? 119.8. I know he had to get out of the way of the train coming through that was Rene Rast, but still a 119.8 and a 117.9 for Mike Rockenfeller means that suddenly the gap is only just over 3 seconds between them.
And nevertheless, super job by this man controlling his gap with Robert Wickens. He's managing around 6 seconds per lap. No mistake yet.
He's going to pick up a bunch of points here again, isn't he, to add to the 43 that he's already got. Fantastic stuff. Well, we've just seen Sven Muller, I'm afraid, retiring from the race. Verena Reet is about to find out what happened. Thanks, Verena. Yeah, good to find out what the problem was there. So, braking issue, and yeah, Muller was looking good for some more points. He had a good weekend at Hockenheim, Nico Muller, the Audi driver, with a 5th and a 9th. So, disappointing for him, but another qualifying session, another race to come this weekend. More chances for points still here at Lausitzring. There you look at the 7th place car of Matthias Ekstrom, one of 6 either existing or former DTM champions that we have in the field. 15 of the 18 drivers in this field have been race winners in the DTM, and Matthias Ekstrom is the most winning driver of them in the current field. Matthias having had 22 DTM wins. Gary Paffett's had 20. Then you've got Jamie Green and Bruno Spengler have had 14 wins apiece. Gap steadily coming down from 1st to 2nd, isn't it? 5.4 seconds now, so Wickens still pushing on. Only 4.5 minutes to go. Surely Lucas Auer's got enough in hand here. But there are still other battles further down to be decided. And Mortara we're looking at now. It's just on a 117.7. He's about a 1/10 of a second a lap quicker than Matthias Ekstrom, trying to close him down for 7th place. Just behind them, Maro Engel up to 9th now, looking for his 2nd points of the season. And Jamie Green, 10th place. I think that'll be a decent effort for having started right at the back of the field after being disqualified for using the wrong tyres in qualifying. So there is Rene Rast pulling well clear now of Maxime Martin. What about Mike Rockenfeller, though? Gap's 2.6 seconds. So He's catching, but I think he's probably going to run out of time, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He's catching Maxime Martin, but really slow, so not in the same rhythm like René Rast was catching Maxime Martin before. So I don't think Mike Rockenfeller will have time enough to chase Maxime down and overtake him.
Still a good effort on all tires though from Rocky, doing a super job. 5th in the points. Timo Glock is 11th and out of the points, and Timo is the driver ahead of him in the standings by 4 points. So Mike Rockenfeller could well be moving up into the top 4 in the championship with this. Gary Paffett is certainly going to move ahead of Jamie Green in the standings, because Gary is currently in 6th place and Jamie is in 10th position, and they're on the same number of points, 26 coming into the weekend. So Gary Paffett is going to move up to 2nd place in the championship standings behind Lucas Auer, if it all stays as it is for the remaining 3 minutes, and then plus 1 lap at the end of the 55 minutes. Mortara then chipping on. DRS still being used here, and Mortara's last lap was a 1:17.9, 0.2 quicker than Ekstrom on that lap. The gap's less than a second now, which is why that DRS was being able to be used. You can see the double strap rear wings, double slap rear wings that we have in the car. Not the cars these days. First time for a number of years that they've had such rear wings, so there's a bit less downforce on the cars. Still got this DRS effect though. And Mortara with plenty of rubber, plenty of fresh tyres, having pitted so late in the race. About 16, 17 minutes to go in the race when he finally made his pit stop, so he should be able to challenge here in the remaining couple of minutes. See a queue just ahead of him as well, but I think if he can get 1, he'll be pleased with that. And then what he's trying to get though is Matthias Ekstrom. So last year's championship runner-up, Eduardo Mortara, starts another lap, still within striking distance. The gap between them, half a second, so he's got it down by another 0.4 of a second. He closes up under braking as well. And it's not just about DRS, he's going to have better traction out of the slow corners, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He has fresher tire than Ekstrom that pitted quite early in the race, and now he can use them and he can take advantage of this. So exactly, braking and traction are also, even if it's on a straight line, are also really important tires. I had a really important place on this. So we will see now, probably if he can use the DRS and do the maneuver again on the brakes. Oh, we saw someone locking in the front. That was Paffett,
I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was
big screecher tyres, wasn't there? He's still cracking on, isn't he? Trying, if he can, to stay away from this battle. I think he's too far behind Rockenfeller to try and think back at gaining a place, but he's still, I think he's well aware that Mortara is not that far behind. If he can dispatch very quickly of Ekstrom, which he might be about to do here. Look how a higher line he takes coming onto the banking, then they cut low, then they let it drift out wide again towards the wall. And this might be the chance for Eduardo Mortara to pick up some more points here. 7th place is on the cards. He pulls out of the slipstream, goes down the inside. Eki closes the door, but there's nothing he can do to stop the Italian coming through. Mortara is up ahead, and that puts him into 7th place.
Yeah, and also finally Rockenfeller is 1.1 behind Maxime Martin with a few seconds to go, so he might have still a chance or try to get the position from Maxime Martin away. We'll see this.
And Eki might have half a sight on 6th place now, and Gary Paffett. Remember, there's another lap to go at the end of this one. The time is about to run out, but there's 1 lap added on, 55 minutes plus a lap. Might just have a chance at the end of the race, although of course his best chance is going to be at the start of the final lap going into turn 1.
Oh yes, definitely. Maxime Martin lost in the 2nd sector almost half a second compared to Mike Rockenfeller. Not that maybe...
Until the last lap goes Lucas Auer with something like a 4-second advantage. Yeah, 4.1 seconds over Robert Wickens, who is a country mile clear of René Rast on for his podium here. And then, Alex, you're right, this is the chance, isn't it, for Mike Rockenfeller? He's just about going to be within DRS reach going onto this last lap of the race, within a second of the man ahead. He closes, he won't be able to get through here, but he'll be very, very close indeed. Team radio from the race leader, Lucas Auer, looking for another victory. And now, here we go. This is his chance, right into the tail of Maxime Martin, who's really struggling for grip, isn't he, Alex?
Yeah, exactly. We might see now as a small straight now acceleration into the tight corner. DRS open for Mike Rockenfeller. Maxime Martin make the car as wide as possible, open its elbows. He denied the position to Mike Rockefeller. Now we have a small, long right-hand corner. It's fast. Really important to get the neck traction out of the corner. Another DRS chance for Mike Rockefeller. And we see now Lucas Auer coming into the last corner towards his first win here at the Lausitzring for this weekend.
Rockefeller is right behind Maxim Martin, but he might just run out of time. But the checkered flag is waiting. Lucas Auer is going to take another DTM race win. And you can see, and here he's quite pleased about that.
Thank you.
He told Verena, he told Verena at the start of the race he wasn't quite sure why he was so quick here, but he is.
Incredible ride.
First DTM podium for Rini Rast coming P3. And Maxime Martin managed to hold the position into Mike Rockefeller, but with a really tight finish.
Maximum rubber.
Maximum rubber there. That's to pick up the loose rubber. A reminder for the drivers to make the car as heavy as possible. The loose rubber, the marbles will stick to the hot tyres to just add a bit of extra weight to the car to make sure they're over the minimum weight. Look at the crowd that is here. Absolutely fantastic. Treated to a great performance by Lucas Auer, who wins the race. That is his third DTM win. It's his second win in 3 races this season, and it's his second win here at the Lausitzring. Not sure why he goes well here, but my word, he does. Controlled the pace at the end, 3.6 seconds, but in all honesty, he was mainly 6 or 7 seconds clear in that race. But Robert Wickens with a good drive to second place, and René Rast in third. So great victory for Mercedes. Ollie Fritz is with Verena. Thanks very much, Verena. Yeah, Ollie Fritz there from the winning manufacturer, Mercedes, with not just first place, but the top 2, and as you said, 4 in the top 7. They came here leading the manufacturer standings as well, Mercedes from Audi. So Lucas Auer, the winner by 3.6 seconds from Robert Wickens. René Rast for Audi with his maiden podium in the DTM. Maxime Martin with a hard-fought 4th place. Mike Rockefeller, excellent drive to 5th. Right on his tail as across the line, but couldn't quite find a way through. There's only a 10th between them. Gary Paffett, more good points up to 2nd in the championship in 6th place. Eduardo Matara flying at the end in 7th. Ekstrom in 8th place. Maro Engel with more DTM points in his first season in 9th. And Jamie Green from the very back of the field, 10th place, picking up the final point in the first race of the weekend here at the Lausitzring. So there you heard the whooping and the hollering from Lucas Auer, who's out of the car, quite a quiet, unassuming chap, but goodness me, he's a tiger when you put him behind the wheel of a Mercedes, and that was a beautiful drive. And it's early in the season, but Lucas Auer looks the part, doesn't he, in terms of somebody that might be up there for the championship this year. So out of the cars, our top 3, René Rast going to be well pleased with that. It was a great move, wasn't it, to get through on, granted, a nailing in terms of tyres, a BMW of Maxime Martin, but good move nonetheless. And there it is. Pink is the colour, isn't it? All the way for the Austrian driver. Off the bonnet of the Mercedes he gets. Another race win here at the Lausitzring, his 3rd career DTM victory. And the first thing he does is congratulate his teammate, Robert Wickens, the Canadian there, with a strong performance in 2nd place. And in reality, he was the only one that was anywhere near Lucas Auer, wasn't he? The rest of them were blown away by those 2.
Yeah, it was a stunning performance from Lucas. From the beginning towards the end, always spot on the laps. He was the fastest every time, open and open, making bigger and bigger the gap with the guys behind. And like you said, this year is the pink is the color.
Fantastic. We can see him coming a mile away, that's for sure. But most of them could barely see his exhaust fumes. So far clear was he. As I say, Robert Wickens was the only one to hang on to him, really, and keep him honest, at least for the last few laps. 3.6 seconds the difference between them. Good effort by Rob Wickens. Here's the mode. This had the potential for disaster, didn't it? As he leapt onto the top of the car. Great moment for him. And they're all rushing to the podium. Mercedes 1-2, Audi 3rd. BMW in a good drive, though, from Maxime Martin in 4th place. And Mike Rockenfeller, one of the star drives, I reckon, in 5th place. Good strategy. And very, very nearly 4th place for him. Outside of the top 10, Timo Glock was 11th, Farfus in 12th, Wittmann disappointed in 13th, Spengler has struggled this weekend so far, 14th place, Duval 15th, had a stop-go, 5-second penalty rather, De Resta only 16th. There's another one with a penalty, and Blomqvist 17th. Muller, the only one to not finish the race. 68 points for Lucas Auer. Gary Paffett, 2nd on 34. Mike Rockenfeller up to 3rd on 31. Jamie Green picked up a point, but drops to 4th on 27. Timo Glock and René Rast in the top 6 in the championship points now as well. There you can see the huge windmill that overlooks the huge grandstand here at the Lausitzring. And here, another chance to see as we wait for the podium. Our top 3, the Autobild Motorsport Audi of René Rast onto the podium. First of many, I'm absolutely sure, for René. He's a real talent. And Robert Wickens in a very strong drive in 2nd place. Great slow-mo there, the sparks flying as the underneath of the car hits the bumpy, bouncy tarmac here at the Lausitzring. But your race winner from Austria, from Mercedes-AMG, it is, once again, Lucas Auer triumphing from pole position to take the victory here and extend his championship lead after 3 races in the DTM season 2017. Super drive then from Lucas Auer once again, but as we have come to know in DTM, Alex Tyrrell, if you have a good day on Saturday, doesn't mean you're going to have a good day on Sunday. But somebody that has had a very good day is René Rast, and he's speaking with Verena. He's a top man, René Rast, and he's done the podium now. It'll be wins next he'll be looking for, because as a racing driver, Alex, you're always thinking of the next step, aren't you?
Yeah, you're always thinking on how to get more. I mean, when you had such a result, you are really happy, you're really stunning. But then when you go the next day, you say, okay, I already did one check in my list, which is a podium, but now I want to do the second one, which is a win. And then when you get a win, then you want another one and another one and another one, and then it's the never-ending story.
And it's so hard to do, though, isn't it? Because it's, you know, I've said this before, but there are other sports like tennis or golf where if you don't win, it's either your fault or your opponent was just better. But in motorsport, there are so many things to go wrong. Somebody else that's had a very good day, 2nd place, Robert Wickens. Verena, let's hear what he's got to say. Thanks, Verena. Yeah, good to hear from Robert. As he said, he had a bit of a downer at Hockenheim. It was quick, but it was one of those days where it didn't work out for him. But yeah, back up and in the mix. And Robert will be another driver now. Will be seeking his first DTM title. He's proven race winner, as is this man. A huge cheer from down below. A rattle as they slam the fencing and cheer their man, Lucas Auer, onto the top step of the podium. It's been an almost perfect start to the season. 3 races, worst result of 4th place. Not too bad. There is Robert Wickens. There is René Rast. And we now get our race winners. National anthem, a winning team manufacturer come up as well for their part on the podium. And it's Lucas Auer from Austria, who will now hear his national anthem played here at the Lausitzring. Your race winner here at Lausitzring, round 3 of the 2017 DTM. The Austrian driver, Lucas Auer. The HWA Mercedes team, His Royal Highness Prince Leopold of Bavaria. He's often here at Lausitzring to present trophies, and he's once again back for 2017. A huge cheer, a huge trophy as well. Somebody's got to have to find a home for that and keep it clean and polished over the years, but that's going to go somewhere near the top of the mantelpiece. Matthias Stoldrer, who's the Red Bull Air Race World Champion, the current champion. Red Bull Air Race here last summer at the Lausitzring, presents the winning team trophy eventually to the right person. He's not used to giving them, you see, he's used to receiving the trophies. HWA and Mercedes with the silverware, and Klaus Ludwig, 3 times DTM champion. His son Luca Ludwig, racing in GT Masters this weekend, presents second place trophy to Robert Wickens, who's mildly pleased with that. Still looking for race wins, of course. And Joseph Meyer, who's the managing partner of the Lausitzring, presents the third place trophy to René Rast. He's had dozens and dozens and dozens of race winning trophies over the years, but that third place trophy in DTM, such a hard championship, he's going to rate almost like a win for René, I would suspect. So our top 3 drivers, winning team representative, make their way for the photos onto the top step of the podium, and now it's the race for the champagne, which of course Lucas Auer wins as well. He's pretty quick, that kid. And it's a vacuum of champagne, quite a big bottle, but it seems to be gallons of the stuff inside there. You got all the drivers, and you got everybody down below as well. And right down the neck. It looks great, but it's horrible stuff to try and wash off later.
As a driver, it feels great, I can tell you.
Absolutely. Because as I say, there's so many things that can go against you in a motor race. You can do a 100% perfect job and still not win a race, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. This is motorsport is like you were telling before. Some sport it depends, and this is a sport where it depends part on you, but also many other stuff which doesn't depends on you, which are so.
Well, he's happy. He's a bit wet, he's a bit sticky, but he doesn't care, I shouldn't think, does he? Lucas Auer is with Verena. Great stuff. Thanks, Verena. Lucas has also been, on average, the best qualifier so far this year, so there's no reason why he can't go and do all of this again tomorrow. But as you will have seen at Hockenheim when you were there for the first round, Alex, just because you go well one day in DTM doesn't mean you're going to have a good day the following day. Even if you've got a great car and you know the circuit, if he loses a tenth of a second somewhere in qualifying tomorrow, he's going to be in the middle of the pack, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. You need to put everything together to get a good job and to get a podium result. You see again the slow-mo from René Rast achieving his first ever DTM podium. The stunning P3 going sliding to that curb in corner 1.
Nice slow-mo. You really see the chassis and the suspension working on those slow-mos, can't you? René Rast using all of the track and then some. That was just after he'd got past Maxime Martin for 3rd place and started to pull away from him on the fresher tyres. There's the car that won the race. Hankook tyres managed perfectly. Lucas said he wasn't quite sure why he's so quick here. I think he alluded to the fact that he's good at looking after the tyres and he's smooth as well. You need to be smooth here, I think, at the Lausitzring, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's not an easy racetrack. It's a really demanding racetrack. So you have to be really smooth, really precise on your movements.
Robert Wickens giving him a good run for his money in 2nd place. They all want to win, but you can't win. Beat everybody else, and he did that fairly and squarely, Robert Wickens. So getting the season off the mark, as he said, after a very disappointing weekend at Hockenheim. And another race, another chance tomorrow to try and get his first victory of the season. But there was no catching that man, Lucas Auer. Super job. And a mark of the man that the first thing he does is not talk about how well he drove, but talk about what a great job the team did. Absolutely a team sport, this. Some great shots here of the cars around the Lausitzring. Tracking shot of Lucas Auer. Well, that was an absolutely fantastic race from Alex Tyrrell and me, Chris Hartley. Hope you've enjoyed it. Going to hand you back now to Verena to wrap up the show. Bye for now.